get to be on cocaine to be on this podcast? Cocaine. Cocaine Billy. Cocaine. Cocaine Billy.
What is up, everybody? Oh my god. Hey, you know what?
We're here.
We're here and we're living life. We're listening to yet another edition of Cocaine Willie, the official K-State representative on the College Huddle. As you can see, I am Fireball Matt Marchesini, struggling to get through the introduction here. We've got my co-host, the good chef Andre Napier. Love that boy, as always. We're missing our commish Bob Trollsby for another episode. Don't worry, we are excited, in quotations, to have him back next week to not make this as much of a shit show as I've started it. Tonight, we are going to be talking a little bit about our thoughts coming off of the K-State football bye week. We will be doing our locks and fantasy picks for week 12, and we will end with some of Chef's overs and unders, happies and crappies. If you know, you know. But first, look, before we dive into this episode, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Annie Mae's Parlor. Annie Mae's. And this beer crack, that sounded good, is brought to you by Annie Mae's Parlor, located at 616 North 12th Street in Aggieville in Manhattan, Kansas. Annie Mae's has been in business for 50 years. Absolute must-visit destination in Aggieville on game days and school nights alike. Annie Mae's is far and away my favorite destination in Aggieville. Love the basement of Annie Mae's. And I always make a point to go visit my auntie every time I come back to Little Apple. They feature a wide variety of craft cocktails, awesome cocktails, by the way, draft beers and everything in between, along with entertainment like live music, comedy, trivia, and all sorts of other events every single week. Check out their website at anniemays.com to get a list of their upcoming events. Obviously, they're doing a ton of cool stuff all the time, so go visit your auntie in MHK, 616 North 12th Street in the heart of Aggieville, and be sure to let them know that Cocaine Willie sent you.
Willie.
God dang it. Huh. Anyway.
We made it through.
It's okay. Chef, let's talk a little bit about the bye week. This team needed a bye week more than life itself.
Did we really need it? I don't know. The fan base definitely didn't need it. I hate bye weeks coming off of losses. It's devastating, dude. It hurts. It absolutely hurts. But I'm sure the team needed it. I mean, like Kleiman said, like any of the players say, it's just good to get. It's their job. So, like, when I get a week off from my work, it's really a good refresher. So, to not have to do anything football related, to like pouring your heart and soul into football for a whole week when you don't have to, and you can kind of sit back and relax and be a regular 19 or 18 to 24-year-old in Manhattan, Kansas, I think that's a good thing for them. So, hopefully they come back refreshed and ready to put it all on there, because there's a lot of things that are still on the line here. We're still fighting for all the goals that they wanted. They can still accomplish as long as they win all their games and they get a little help now. That's all they need. Just a little help.
Which it very much is like 2022 all over again, if you think about it, because in reality, that was a team that needed just a little bit of help to get them into the Big 12 championship game. They had to win, the rest of their games, obviously, into November, but that was a team that needed a little bit of help to get there. And as I said on Saturday night, which apparently was said 3 weeks ago, this BYU team has some shades of TCU 2022 in there.
Yeah.
And if we get some help, it would be very fun to play that BYU team in Arlington, as long as we win the next 3 games, of course. I just wanted to make a point about the bye week too, and something that I think is important. Everybody kind of thinks about the physical aspect of having a bye week, and obviously not playing a football game gives you the ability to kind of calm everything down physically, get some rest, etc. But I think the mental aspect of having a bye week is also important too. This is a team that, since the bye week, the first weekend in November, they've been on the road at Colorado. That's a huge mental hurdle of, a last minute win in that game. You play at West Virginia, another road game, long road trip, obviously a big win there. The KU game so close at home. Huge mentality aspect of it too. KU is going to come in their Super Bowl and try and win in Manhattan last second, kick there, last minute kick. So the Houston game, as much as like it was a clunker in so many ways, and it was just really, really bad all around. Can I make sense of it by saying, am I giving a reason of saying, hey, like this team had a really strenuous kind of 4 weeks there, maybe. But I am still a believer in this team. I think the bye week has a lot of opportunity to just kind of level set and evaluate, hey, here's, the strengths that we've seen this season and what we have to continue doing in the next 3 games. Here's some of these weaknesses that we have, and we have to come up with a way to scheme some of those weaknesses out of the game plan and see if it sticks. This Arizona State team is going to be a very fun team to come into Manhattan because they're a team with not a lot of expectations at the beginning of the season. I don't know if it's fair to say they're playing with house money being at 7-2. This is a team that was picked last in the Big 12 preseason poll, 16th, to where they are now tied for second in the conference. Is
tied for third.
Sorry, tied for third. It's kind of wild. And so I feel like this is going to be a huge test, coming into Manhattan, for their team, but for us, this is going to be a very competitive team that is on the fringe of being in the playoff top 25. So it'll be very interesting.
It is interesting. The matchup. I mean, we've talked about it, and the team is it's shocking because of where we thought they would be at. But once you kind of peel back the layers of this season and you really got into the meat of it, it's not a surprise where they're at because they are a very good team. Once like preseason stuff is all just preseason talk. We're just talking. We don't know. And then once we see the team and the resolve that they have, ASU is a good team. They've got athletes. They've got superstars at running back. They got young talent at wide receiver. I mean, it kind of sounds like a KSU team that we have currently right now. They got a talented young receiver out wide. They've got a young, talented mobile quarterback. They've got a superstar at running back. I mean, where have we heard that story from? So I'm not taking this team lightly. I know the team isn't. And like I said, we've got everything in front of us. We've just got to clean things up and hope that there's not a monsoon, because it seems like either we play a Cougar team that is low expectations and we go in front of a ravenous fan base and fall apart, or we play a Cougars team that low expectations, but there's a monsoon and we fall apart. We fall apart special teams wise. We fall apart in every aspect. So I don't think, but you heard that earlier in the season after the BYU game that you won't see a performance like how BYU was. And in all honesty, can we say that Houston game was a similar performance? I don't know. I mean, they're two different teams, but it was a stinker of a performance. So can we recover? Because we recovered versus BYU with an OSU dominating victory at home, and coming off of a bye. Can we do the same thing towards an Arizona State team who is obviously a way better record than Oklahoma State? But the time will tell. But if we get over this hurdle, there's still nothing to, you still can't count your chickens, but you're still, inching your way into a huge Farmageddon matchup that you have to have if you want things to go your way. So you've got a lot in between there, but the team, the coaches, the fan base, we're all we're in lockstep right now. We're laser focused on this, and I'm putting that Houston game behind me. In all honesty, I have to. I can't. I've been stewing on it for 2 weeks, and I'm putting it behind me. It's Sun Devil week now, baby.
You're growing up. You're growing up. I do want to kind of pivot to. So a couple days ago, we saw the college football playoff rankings were announced. K-State came in at number 16 in the country, so moved up 3 spots during the bye week. Looking holistically at the Big 12, BYU is at 6, Colorado is at 17. So the Big 12 has 3 schools in the college football playoff rankings at this time. BYU kind of I mean, we had some teams that obviously lost, Miami, Georgia, etc. BYU is a team that, I mean, this team went on the road in their, rivalry game and ended up with a win somehow, of course. But this is a team that I feel even at 6 is still not getting the props nationally that maybe I would have expected, especially with a team that has the 3rd best strength of schedule out of all of the college football playoff teams, or, all college football teams overall.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if they win out, things will change. There's a lot of, the Big Ten is, obviously a very competitive conference. I think BYU has to worry about Indiana behind them. But, I mean, looking at the Big 12 with 3 schools right now, are you surprised with where those 3 schools are ranked in Week 12?
Yes. I honestly, I'm surprised the storyline that Colorado's on right now. I mean, not that anybody couldn't see it coming, because they are a very, very, very talented team, but just how they're doing it. I mean, and by all means, they shouldn't be doing what they're doing, like road test at Lubbock. Where was their other road test that they had? They had one not too long ago, but they're winning games that
UCF.
UCF on the road dominated them, and that was UCF team that still had a lot of vigor in them, and they were still fighting for things. So they dominated that game. They had a tough one versus us, but we're gargantuan brand. But I'm a little shocked that they were 17, and you can say the same thing like you just said with BYU, where they're 6th. But would you really put them above Ohio State, Oregon? What's the other the Penn State? Maybe Penn State you'd put them above?
Penn State. Maybe Penn State. I mean, I think it's an interesting argument because
not over Texas.
I agreed. I think the one thing about Texas, and a lot of people were talking about this week, and this is something that I feel is being portrayed maybe nationally a little bit now, of looking at strength of schedule and how these teams, who they've been playing. And Texas hasn't played a great schedule if you think about it. And the best team that they lost to, obviously is Georgia. The only team they've lost to. Georgia's lost 2 games. Obviously at Alabama, like they're not bad losses by any means. I mean, Ole Miss, is a team that
Where are they ranked at? Ole Miss, if you don't mind me asking.
I believe
it's been a couple days since I've looked at it.
I believe it was 12.
12. Okay, that makes sense.
11. Excuse me.
11. Makes even more sense.
Thinking about the teams that are kind of right behind, looking at the overall top 25 bracket, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana.
Yeah.
So Big Ten, 4 out of the 5 teams, and then you have BYU. Things are going to even out. Indiana is going to be playing at Ohio State. Penn State still has to play Michigan. Not saying that's going to. I know, but
no, I don't think they play Michigan. I think they play
Michigan. No, maybe not. Okay,
they don't play Michigan. They kind of have. I think they have. They have a test. I mean, what you could call a test anymore in the Big Ten.
at Minnesota.
And Minnesota's kind of on a heater.
Minnesota's on a heater, and then they play at Purdue, easy win.
Yeah.
And they host Maryland. So, I mean, the one thing about Penn State is they've also haven't played a really tough slate in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So
their USC victory has been really dampened. And a lot of these teams, like even KSU. I mean, we've played the top echelon of the Big 12, but realistically, our Arizona win, which we thought was going to be a feather in our cap, not so much. Even though if you look at it, Kansas State's played a top 25 G5 team. Not a lot of people can say that they've done that.
On the
maybe
road.
Oregon can say that, and maybe K-State.
Yeah.
Tulane's creeping up there, and we knew that team had a lot of talent and a lot of a well-coached team, and they're proving that our win is – I think that's what's carrying us into this 16 spot, because some people would say that they're surprised that K-State's at 16.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean –
I was a little shocked coming off of a bye week. We move up 3 spots after a loss, an ugly loss to Houston. So it was a little shocking, but realistically, like you were saying, with the strength of schedule, and then now who would have thought in football that we're talking basketball lingo? We're talking resumes.
Yeah.
We're talking resumes in football. It's weird to say that, but our resume is strong. Our resume is strong. A win over Colorado. We've got one, like a college basketball resume. We've got one bad loss. We've got some quality wins. Where on the what's the, not the net ranking? What are we calling those? Quad 1 wins.
Yeah.
Let's get the quad system to football. Let's go.
God. My last question before we get into locks, just about the rankings. So we know our path. Like, you have to win the next 3 games.
Got to.
Colorado is the one team that we have to have a lose one of their last 3 games. Colorado's final 3 games, hosting Utah this Saturday, 10 a.m. kick, Mountain Time in Boulder.
It's sleepy out there.
Hope so. They host Oklahoma State, I believe, on Black Friday. Their game on the road is...
Yeah, you're right.
Their game on the road at Kansas is sandwiched in between those 2 home games. We obviously saw what the Jayhawks put together against Iowa State. And quite frankly, I mean, I was surprised because that was a top to bottom, I felt, ass kicking. I know it got close in the 4th quarter. And I know there are a lot of people that are like, oh my gosh, 9-point lead. But in reality, that was an offense that was clicking. And Iowa State wasn't able to put together really a huge amount of offense that you would have felt they were going to put together against this Jayhawk defense. I mean, we're going to be wishing for Kansas to beat Colorado. I don't have a lot of faith that's going to happen.
I do. I'm not going to sleep on Utah either. I mean, I don't think they'll win. By no means do I think they'll win. But, the way the Big 12 and way college football really is that you catch these teams at the right time, on the right environment. Things aren't going your way, and it kind of snowballs. And Colorado hasn't had to do that outside of, a beat down to Nebraska at the early part of the season when they were still trying to figure out what they wanted to do. And then the KSU loss, KSU really did the bare minimum to win that game outside of the first half, because once the first half was going, we were running the ball well. Colorado, to their credit, made some adjustments, and it was one miraculous catch that's going to be on highlight reels for a while between Avery Johnson and Jace Brown that got us away with that dub. But outside of that, Colorado's been kind of steamrolling and rolling teams. Can they keep that up for 3 more straight weeks? I don't think they possibly. There's no way. It's just they're college kids. It's eventually the shoe is gonna fall, and they're gonna slip somewhere. And I got a feeling it's these next 2 weeks, because I'm not putting any faith in Oklahoma State. So I'm not gonna sleep past Utah, but I've got all my faith and all my eggs in that KU game in Arrowhead. It's going to be interesting. I think, like we said, KU is. I'm not going to glaze KU like some people want me to do, but KU is a really, really talented 3-6 team. They are. And they've got a bowl game still on the horizon. They have to beat BYU. And if they do that, then it'll be a real interesting time in Arrowhead Stadium with Colorado coming to town.
That would definitely be a shocking upset if that occurred this weekend.
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy. Well, let's go ahead and get into our lock segment for the show. I will be the bag boy today because last week I did finish with a 2-3 record, and Chef and Bob Trollsby both had 4-1 records. They've cut into my lead in the overall standings. I am still leading with a 31-23 record. Chef right behind me, 30-24. Bob at 24-30. All kind of uneven because I believe we all had one push that occurred 2 weeks ago. So very weird. But let's get into our Week 12 locks. Chef, I'm going to let you go first because I need to type this out, and then I will put the bag on.
That's fine. I'm bringing out the pan. The chef, Beth is cooking right now. I don't know if you can hear that sizzle in the back. You can hear that sizzle. I got the spatula. I'm cooking it up. I got these locks in this pan right now. What's the first one? What are we doing? This is going to be out of order.
Okay.
West Virginia. I don't know if you could see that. Focus. West Virginia plus 2.5. They've got Baylor coming into town. Baylor's favored. And I don't like that because West Virginia's figuring some things out. They're both 5-4. They're both fighting for really, that middle of the pack Big 12. So I'm going to ride with West Virginia though. Give me the points, West Virginia. What's the second pick? I just was talking about this. Utah plus 10. Their defense is too good for them to get smashed by 10 versus Colorado. They've got some, like we saw, BYU struggled. Mind you, that was at in where are they? Salt Lake City.
Mm-hmm.
10 a.m. kick, like you said. It's going to be a morning dreary, just kind of kickoff time. I've got faith in Utah battling back, recovering, showing that mental fortitude that won them Pac-12 championships. What's my next one? I'm going. This is my freaking sicko game right here. UL Monroe versus Auburn. Now, they're plus 24. I don't have any faith that Auburn can beat anybody by 24 points. There's no way I can see that happening. That is a sicko game. And the reason why it's also a sicko game, it's on SEC Network. Listen to this kick time. 12:45? Where did those 15 minutes go? What are we doing here? Why 12:45? What are we doing? Make it 1 o'clock. Make it 12. Pick a time. That's crazy. Sicko game. UL Monroe. Those, what are they? The Warhawks?
Warhawks.
Let's go, baby. Oh, now this is my national game. Now, bear with me for a second. Tennessee versus Georgia. Tennessee is plus 10. I might get a line adjustment on this because Nico Iamaleava looks like he might not play this game. And if that's the case, I might have to rescind that pick because that's not going to be good.
Can you put that back up again?
Yeah. Did I spell Tennessee right?
No.
What did I?
Tennessee. There's 2 E's at the end.
At the end?
Tennessee.
Is there 2 E's at the end of Tennessee? Tennessee? Is that how you spell it? Whatever. Don't make this isn't a grammar pod.
No, this is definitely not a grammar pod.
Give me Tennessee plus 10. Matter of fact, I don't even care if Nico plays. Those defenses are going to be battling it out I might play the under on with real money too for that pick. Yes. Now, my last Big 12 game, Arizona -1 on a
Ooh,
Friday. This is going to be one of those games where Arizona, you've got nothing to lose. Throw all of it out, man. Throw it all out. I don't know if Teteroa McMillan is looking for the pros or what he's doing. Who knows what he's going to do in this game? Last time I called for a Teteroa McMillan stat line, I called for 200 yards, and he got exactly 200 yards. So what I'm going to do right here, Teteroa, 175 and 2 tutties. Give me that. Arizona -1. It's basically a money line pick 'em.
Wow. That's interesting. Arizona is like so bad. It's kind of
They
crazy.
are bad. They are bad, but they're at home on a Friday. Short turnaround.
Friday night game.
Who are they playing again?
Houston.
They're playing Houston.
The Cougs.
The Cougs. And I hate Houston, so I'm picking everything against Houston. Look at this guy.
Oh, I gotta take my hat off first. Ooh.
Look at this guy. Look at this dude.
Okay. I'm gonna go
You
on
might
mute
just
for
have to
1 second.
just hold it in front of your face.
I have to at least attempt here. Hold on.
Oh my god. Oh, that is sick.
Oh god, I just ripped it. Holding it in front of my face. Oh, it looks like I'm sad, actually. This is perfect.
It does look like you're sad.
All right. So I'm playing a fun game this week for my locks. I have crowdsourced all 5 of my picks this week. I'm not cheating. I'm not cheating. I have the utmost confidence that the 5 people that have selected these games are going to be correct. And I'll be putting a $20 parlay on all 5 of these.
Oh my god.
Here it goes. All right. First pick. My father, an avid Cocaine Willie listener. BYU, 3-point favorite at home versus Kansas. I trust my father.
Wow.
I trust my
Wow.
father.
He has no faith in the Jayhawks. Okay.
No faith in the Jayhawks. He obviously married into a K-State family. He's got no faith in the Jayhawks. Second one. My fraternity brother and tailgate spot 1059 co-founder Tyler Maneth. Houston, 1-point underdog at Arizona.
Wow.
Thinks the Cougs are going to come off the K-State win and somehow beat Arizona, which, you know what? I've seen Arizona at home too. They lost terribly against West Virginia at home.
And Colorado.
And Colorado. So Willie Fritz is going to go into Arizona Stadium. I don't even know what it's called, and win.
I don't know what it's either.
I don't know what it is. My third pick, another fraternity brother and OG K-State fan, Connor Hartpence. We used to be in the front row of K-State games together. He yelled at me once at a game because I called a foul, and he said I was cheering for the refs.
Oh, my God.
Against Wally Judge. Cincinnati, 9-point underdog at Iowa State.
Ooh.
Iowa State kind of reeling a little bit. They do need to win that game at home, yes, but I think Cincinnati is going to come off the game at home against West Virginia. They're going to regroup. It's going to be a close game. I think Iowa State will win, but Cincinnati will cover the 9 points. I agree with all these, by the way. I probably would have selected these. My national game of the week. I crowdsourced from a Penn State fan.
Oh, my God.
My boy, Sco. Hates K-State, by the way. Always picks against us, and he always loses. So maybe he should learn something from that.
Or just tell him to keep doing it.
Penn State sucks. Anyway, LSU, -4.5 at home, at the Florida Gators.
Okay.
I totally believe in this pick, but I have to take it because I'm crowdsourcing it.
At Florida, huh?
At Florida. Florida, Florida's not very good right now.
Well, they were doing fine before they got smashed by Georgia.
They were doing okay,
And then they got Texas. I mean, that's a tough stretch, dude.
I think Brian Kelly's going to whip that Tiger team into shape.
Suck that, Tiger.
Finish it.
No,
No.
I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
All right. And then my sicko game of the week I've crowdsourced for my Philadelphia buddy Tyler Rankle, Robert Morris Colonial fan. I can't pick an FCS game here, but he is picking against his hometown, Temple
Tempe?
University.
Oh, Temple. Jesus.
He is taking Florida Atlantic, a
Wow.
1-point favorite,
Oh my God.
going on the road at Temple in a 2-7 thriller at Lincoln Financial Field. I'm taking the Owls and Tom Herman.
Wow, get the bag out of there. Maybe the last time we'll ever see that bag.
And and $20 of my hard-earned dollars are gonna go on this
To win
parlay.
what? To win what?
I don't know. I will figure it out. I can't bet in Texas. I gotta, it's gotta be like a
Let me
third
see
party.
if I can. Let me see if I can pull that up.
It's got to be a third party that does that.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I mean, I'm not gonna knock you till because you've been pretty money on some of the bets so far.
I know. I had to switch it up, and I like to have a little bit of fun on the Cocaine Willie podcast. Get some outside followers who have subscribed to the podcast.
Okay, you took
give their
Houston
thoughts.
+1,
Cincinnati +9.
Okay, hold on. Let me get it together.
Oh,
let me get it together. See, they don't have it by conference, and I don't like that.
Oh no. Okay. Here,
let's this is bad podcasting. Just keep it going.
I'm gonna keep it going. You can figure it out. All right. Our next segment is going to be Big 12 fantasy starters and standings. Now, one thing about the standings, we don't know last week because Chef didn't do his job, and we still don't know. We still don't know our scores for week 11, and we barely know them for week 10 because these standings are. Oh, actually, I do. We know them for week 10. So the most recent standings. Bob is leading with a 5-5 record in fantasy. Chef is second at 4-6, and I am 1-9. I don't know how. I'm typically pretty good in fantasy football, but
no, you're so bad.
No, I'm so bad. Things could have changed depending on the week 11 scores, but we are going to go to week 12, and I can start by saying I need to turn this around, and I'm going to turn this around with Avery Johnson.
Hey.
In the 3 times that I've played Avery Johnson this year, he has had over 20 points in the game. And I believe K-State won in all of these games. So here's to, maybe I should have saved him for the Iowa State game, but I didn't have anybody else to go with. My running back, all my running backs are either not available to play or on a bye week. And so I am picking one. I am picking Abu Sama from Iowa State. And I'm going to complete the wide receiver duo with Jaden Higgins for another week, which I played him last week, and he did have a very solid game against Kansas. But I wouldn't know because Chef didn't put up the scores. Nobody can
Hold on, I'm
that.
trying to get it together. Let me get it. Oh my God, it's so bright, dude. What is happening? Give me this.
This is just read it like a normal human being. I
Why
can't
is
know.
it so bright? Maybe I just turn my brightness down. I want you to see it. Oh Jesus! Don't look at my lock screen.
387. Oh, 100. $507
on a $20 bet.
$20 bet. Wow.
You might be eating some Sizzlers, baby.
I could pick something nicer than the Sizzler. I could buy a Fireball keg with that.
Oh my gosh, you buy 3 Fireball
Just
kegs.
imagine. All right.
Back to what you were talking about. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I just have to finish my terrible team. Joe Royer with Cincinnati. I'm going with Utah's defense to hopefully bottle up Shador. That's going to be my Week 12 team to break up a 1-9 streak or 1-9 record to go 2-9.
Okay, and then I'll get into my team because I'm reeling just as bad as you are. I started off, I was dominating this thing, and then I've lost the last 4. and I'm 4-6 currently. Bob has taken over. I have no answer for it because my quarterback situation is in dire straits. But I'm gonna ride with that guy that I picked up, Baron Morton. Let's go, please God. Does Texas Tech even play? I'm gonna be shocked they might not play.
After you said that, I was like, wait a second.
Hold on,
I
Baron
think
Morton
they're
might.
on a bye week.
I think they are on a bye week. Jeez Louise. That's
Hmm.
not good. Someone help me.
They
Texas Tech is on.
are on a bye week.
Okay, so in that case, because
Ooh,
that's
this is spicy.
this is bad podcasting. Um, you know what? I'm
Say
gonna
his
take.
name.
Who are you thinking? I'm gonna say. Are you
I-
thinking Retzlaff? I'm not thinking
No,
Retzlaff.
no. I
I'm
was
gonna.
saying Sawyer.
Oh, well, he is the fancy pick, but I'm gonna take. I'm gonna follow your Cincinnati pick, and I'm going Sorsby. Give
You
me
can't
Brendan.
do that
I
because
can't take Brendan
Bob
Sorsby.
took him officially on his team.
Oh, that's right. You okay? Well, then I'm going Sawyer Robertson. To hell with you.
No
Give me
Markiol. Not going to go with Nico.
nope. I'm taking Sawyer Robertson.
Sawyer Robertson. All right.
Sawyer Robinson it is. I've got to copy and paste that. Sawyer Robinson at quarterback. Baylor, as much I did take West Virginia in my locks segment, but that doesn't mean Sawyer Robinson can't go off. So he's been very, very well. He's been very good this season for Baylor. I think he's actually the reason why they're, even fighting for a bowl bid as we speak. Sawyer Robertson, my wife's maiden name. Gotta love him. Go Sawyer Robinson, go. Run your little butt off. Then I got Carson Hansen, former K-State recruit. Never really panned out to make it here, but he does his thing for Iowa State. He gets those little dives, and he just falls forward for some reason. Give me Carson Hansen. Then I'm going 2 straight K-State players. Jace Brown, Garrett Oakley. We're going to have big days versus the Sun Devils. I love it. And in a turn of events, Oklahoma State doesn't play this week, so I have to pick up a defense. And it was a joke earlier in the season. Everybody thought it was funny. I bet you can't take Colorado's defense to still win. But you know what? I'm doing it again. Give me Colorado's defense. And to lock down that Utah pick that I took in my lock segment, it's a clash of two different things. My fantasy is going to either do good or my lock segment's going to do good. I'm hoping for the lock segments because fantasy, I stink.
It's hey, you and me, brother. it'll everything will be okay. Everything will be okay.
Everything's gonna be all right.
All right. Shut up. Final thoughts. Let's just talk about the Arizona State game. I want to hear about your over-unders as well, but give me your final thoughts about the Arizona State game. What are you thinking for the Cats?
Well, I haven't been on the boards today. I haven't really looked at what the status of what Scadaboo's news is. I know earlier in the week we talked and he was questionable and that he was practicing. So I don't know if he'll make the trip or not. I'll have to probably I probably should look into that, but I'm not going to right now. But if Scadaboo's playing, he adds an element to that Arizona State offense that we've seen some good running backs this season. I mean, Neal was an excellent running back, and we bottled him up as well as we could. I think we're going to have to do the same. We're going to have to limit Scadaboo. He's excellent in the receiving game. He's excellent in the running game. He's an integral part of this offense. So if we can limit him to the best we can, I think we'll be fine. I think we'll have a strong enough performance at home with this crowd. Another night kick. We're loving these night kicks.
Mm-hmm.
7 p.m. for me, 6 p.m. for you. That's like that perfect like twilight zone, twilight era. The sun might still be up. I don't know. It'll be pretty low.
No.
But yeah, this is an integral, game, man. A pivotal game, I should say. We need it. And I think the team is going to have a lot of desperation out there. to pull it out. So I'm pumped for this game, man. I am pumped.
Yeah, I mean, I think about it early on in the season. The biggest reason I would be pumped for this game is because we felt it was probably going to be like a win because
Yeah.
of how we thought Arizona State was going to be. But now they come in and just like that. Look, everyone, they have a real potential to come in and beat us if we don't put it together. I mean, the offense has to be way better. Obviously, the weather looks to be excellent for this game. So you can't, the Houston game, you could, if you want to say weather was the outlier of, not being able to do certain things offensively, then there you go. But the offensive line has to be better, getting the run game going. Avery's going to have to play better in this game. I mean, every facet of this team is going to have to play better if you think about it. Special teams was kind of a disaster in that game. The defense didn't make plays in the second half. There's just all these little things. So it's going to be really important to just kind of, you put the Houston game, sweep it under the rug, and, you take the bye week and, work on the things that you knew you struggled with in the last game. And in reality, this team has been very good at home with being able to score and, doing the things that they need to do to win games. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a similar game to like the Oklahoma State game or the Arizona game. But I think this team is going to take this kind of revitalization off the bye week and do some really good things on Saturday night and start the run the last 3 games here. I mean, again, you have 2 tough teams coming to Manhattan for these 2 games, and then you go on the road to Iowa State. It's not going to be an easy 3 games. It's going to, it's going to be a lot of fight. But again, hope we see our boys get a win on Saturday night.
Yeah. Let's hit them over and unders, brother.
Let's do it.
I put a lot of thought into these, just to let you know. Not really, but I do want to get some over unders and what your opinion on it and these numbers are specifically. My first over under is Dylan Edwards carries, not necessarily touches, because he is, he's pivotal in the passing game at some points. Dylan Edwards carries. I said the over under at 6.5. I think that might be a little low. He had 8 versus Houston, but prior to that versus KU, before the before that previous game, he had 3. So he's somewhere around that 6, 8, 7, 3, 5. He's somewhere in there. I'm setting at 6.5. What are you thinking?
I'm gonna say under for this one. I'm gonna say under.
Fireball, Matt.
I think so. This Arizona State defense is strong against the run, and in my opinion, I feel they are going to try and scheme more towards the passing game in this game and more with the zone read type situation, which we haven't necessarily seen a bunch of regarding or with Avery and Dylan together. We could see definitely some more jet sweeps and things along those lines that could leverage Dylan. But I'm going to say under in this one. I think DJ Giddens is going to get the primary number of carries in this game, be the primary back as we've seen him through the season, but even more so.
I love it. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to say, I think we get the rushing attack going, that more consistent rushing game, not necessarily bottled up with a 40-yard run sprinkled in here. I think it's more consistent. And when you have more consistent running, I think that's when the breaks need to happen. You need to expel DJ every once in a while. So I'm going to go over 6.5. I think Dylan will probably be floating around that 8 number. And I think that'll be good for the offense if we're consistently running the ball. I like it. We're going to have to get these out to Bob because I would love to hear what he has to say on it to split that number between me and you. Mm-hmm. Over under, Arizona native Trey Spivey snaps. I set the line at 3.5.
Wow.
You get 3.5 snaps. Not special teams, not anything else.
Offensive snaps. Was he even in during the Houston game?
don't remember if he
I
took the
don't
trip,
remember if he even.
but I know versus KU he had a couple when he had a couple. I'm setting at 3.5, and he is an Arizona native.
Wow. I'm like trying to look this up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
I know the boards usually keep a good,
Yeah,
good
they
running
do.
count of.
And I got to search for this dang thing throughout.
Well, I'll fill mine in right now. I'll say he gets under 3.5. As much as I want him to get in there, I'm going to say he's going under 3.5 snaps.
See, I am trending towards that too because I don't remember him even playing in the Houston game. I mean, Ty Bowman is getting like snaps.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to probably trend towards the under on this one.
Shout out to Junior Spivey. Love
Yeah.
you, boy. Love you.
I would love to see him get more than 3.5 for what it's worth. I mean, we've seen some good like glimpses of what he can be.
Yeah, I think but at this point, we're in the rotation is the rotation, but at some point, he was probably one of those players over the bye week, those good on goods of the reserves where they're getting that real scrimmage time, the real scrimmage practices. He probably did a lot of work there. So if he had flashes during that bye week where it was the young pups really showing what they could do, I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of these younger players starting to emerge later in this season, getting their moment to shine now that they've been able to prove themselves over the bye week. So I think maybe Trey is one of those guys, but I'm going to have to see it. So I'm taking the under for right now.
Okay.
All right. Next one. It's a classic. It's an oldie, but a goodie. It's special teams U, baby. And it's not necessarily special teams U, but that's usually where we get them. Over under non-offensive touchdowns for Kansas State. Setting it at 0.5, baby.
I found it. He had one snap.
He had
for
one
the Houston
snap,
game.
so he did make the trip.
He basically did not make the trip. I'm going to say over on this one.
I did the exact same thing.
How? I don't care. I don't care.
You want to hear my oddly specific thing?
I kind of feel it's going to be a Jacob Parrish pick six.
Okay. I like where your head's at right there. You want to hear my crazy scenario after our talk with Mark? Was it Mark from the Stomp the Bus podcast? Great podcast guest. Go listen to that if you haven't yet. Subscribe to the YouTube. Do all those things. Put a like on that video. But what he said about their kicking game and it not being very good, I think they're susceptible to maybe a blocked field goal for a touchdown. I got a feeling that we're going to block a field goal and return it for a touchdown. Shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs.
That would be fun. That would be very fun. Yeah, I mean, he did mention some very interesting points about the special teams situation there. That's very viable. I mean,
I love it.
Or a kick return. I mean, Dylan could spring one, a punt return too. Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be fun to watch in the stadium for sure.
Man, a blocked field goal return for a touchdown. Imagine the pop on that bad boy.
I know. That would be huge.
That would be huge.
That's what you got for us. Those three?
What I got.
Perfect.
Those three, get them, bang them out real quick. We'll send these to Bob. We'll post them on Twitter, boys and girls. Cokeheads, comment on all this stuff, man. We want to hear from the Cokeheads. Get your interaction only thrives us and it makes our little hearts grow like the Grinch.
Oh, that's so cute. One last thing. I know it's not in here, but it is Thursday. We have an important doubleheader in basketball on Thursday night. I just want to get a quick couple minutes, talk about, women look great. And they're going to be playing a Creighton team that was ranked in the top 25. They did drop out. But the women look excellent, even not at full strength. They're going to be playing at 5 o'clock Central Time, I believe, on ESPN2 for anybody who is not headed to Manhattan for that game. And then we have a Cam Carter homecoming game. The LSU Tigers coming to Manhattan. I think that game is like 8 o'clock Central Time.
ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus.
Be there. Pack Bramlage.
Yes, if you have the ability to go to those two games, please. The women, I will always say, I mean, especially with a top 10 women's basketball program, they have a Creighton team coming in who is gonna fight in that game, and then an LSU team, obviously, in Cam Carter too, and what should be a fun game. And there was a little bit of a teaser, K-State basketball teaser video.
What is that? Maybe I'm just not like in the know, but I think is it a banner that was stolen or something?
I think so, something along those lines. Something is going to happen on Thursday, and people are going to be wondering what it is. We all are, but I mean, the men's team, the past two games, New Orleans game, they look good in the end. The Cleveland State game, they look pretty good throughout, except for the final 5 minutes when they didn't really. A lot of turnovers. I mean, this LSU game is going to be a good first test for the men. What do you think? You think the guys are going to pull it out?
Yeah, well, I think we'll win the game. I think LSU's got some talent. Mind you, they were picked 14 out of 16 teams in the SEC. They lost a real integral part of their offense. I can't remember what the center for them. He was like a pick and pop kind of guy. He was pretty good. But we've handled this team the last two. Well, didn't handle them the first year, but the second year in Baton Rouge, we handled them pretty good. I think we'll be able to do a lot of what we want to do. Now, the integral part is going to be, what are we going to get from our superstars?
Mm-hmm.
I think as much as I wanted to think that this team was going to be more balanced and stretched out and, facilitated to a lot of people, I think we have to start showing teams that we have some big dogs that can eat.
Mm-hmm.
What is Coleman Hawkins going to do scoring the ball? Mind you, I said that he was not going to be the leading scorer, but I think he needs to show a little bit more in scoring the ball. He's been an excellent facilitator. So is Doug McDaniels, also not shooting the ball particularly well. But versus this LSU team, I think we need to have those big dogs eat. And I think we will. I think this will be the real coming out for Coleman Hawkins as a K-State Wildcat at home. Fun of a good, solid crowd. Cam Carter back. None of the people on this team know who Cam Carter is, but that's fine. It'll be fun. I think we're going to handle them. I think we'll be good. It's just if we have the turnovers like we did versus New Orleans, I think we blow them out.
Mm-hmm.
If we have them similar to the Cleveland State, I think it'll be a little spicier than we want, but I think we'll win by at least 10.
Yeah. I agree. I think we'll win by at least 10 in this game. A note for LSU and for Cam Carter, he is their leading scorer right now, 21.5 points a game. I know in a limited sample size. We saw flashes of Cam and what he can do on offense. It'll be interesting to see how he handles Bramlage environment that maybe this is a bad opinion, but I hope isn't too negative to him. He was an important guy for this team. I mean, you could look at last year and be, a little bit like what if, but he was an important player in the Elite Eight run, as a guy who, started games, came off the bench in games, made some big plays. Despite what may have been happening, kind of, backdoor deals to get over to LSU or anything like what I've read, I don't know. But I do hope at least the fans do give him a little bit of a standing ovation, when they do the, starting lineup, but then, are just very raucous towards him throughout the rest of the game. That would be my thought, but I don't know.
I mean, I agree. What do you think the reception for him?
Yeah.
What do you think the crowd gives him?
I hope the crowd is just more complimentary during the starting lineup, but then, I mean, when he has the ball, you're just getting given him out of his element. I mean,
I like it.
It'll be interesting to see what the crowd looks like on a Thursday night in that type of game as well.
I don't know if we just talked about. I don't know. I don't think we mentioned it, but a Chor back.
A Chor is trending to be back for that game. So the minutes distribution from what we've seen in the first couple games, it will be interesting because again, we've got a lot of big men to kind of move around into positions.
Because I mean, Byfall is I'm saying his name correctly now. Byfall getting more minutes than we thought.
Yeah.
Tang said directly that there's nobody's going to be redshirting on this team, so that was interesting because we thought maybe Byfall would be somebody. Well, I don't think he has a red shirt available, but like just somebody that'll be sitting, not playing, learning the game. And Uga, yeah, he's only been playing like 9 minutes.
He had 7 minutes in the Cleveland State game. No points, 2 rebounds in that game. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting where a Chor falls in all of this. I think he'll be a big asset in terms of stretching the floor because he does have the ability to pop a three every once in a while, but finishing at the basket and being more physical in terms of defensive rebounding and even offensive rebounding. I think we've been fine, but defensive rebounding, we really have to get after it, more tenacity. And I think a Chor can do that.
Absolutely. It's going to be very interesting on Thursday night. Again, women's team at 5, men's team at 8, hosting 2 big teams in Bramwich Coliseum. Chef, it's been fun.
Yeah.
I miss Bob. We'll see him back next week. That is going to do it for us today. Before we do sign off, we always want to make a quick ask to anybody listening or watching this. If you have not already, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube, subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you do get your podcasts. Do follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Cocaine Willie. Once again, I do want to shout out our sponsor, Annie Mae's Parlor. Remember to visit Annie Mae's when you do visit Manhattan for your drinking needs. Additionally, we are the K-State representative on the College Huddle, which is the largest community of fan-driven content in the nation. Do check the College Huddle out at thecollegehuddle.com and follow them on social media at the College Huddle. And last but not least, you can follow our show, as I said, at Cocaine Willie. You can follow us individually. I am Fireball Matt at Matt Marchesini. The good chef is at Chef Andre Napier. And the invisible commissioner is at Bob Trollsby. Chef.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug, baby.
We are all coke and no joke. Wildcat Country. Let's
ride.
You
tricked me. Let's ride, baby.
Let's ride. Let's go.